Hey everybody, Chris Palmer from the Handcrafted by Chris Palmer channel, and today I've brought you back into the shop. And I'm excited because you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to do a little DIY on some vinyl plank flooring stair treads. What if I showed you how to make them in one piece using the physical floor? That's pretty slick. Now I'm gonna show you how I did it, and I'm gonna show you the mistakes that I made along the way so that you can get it right your first time. This is my unsuccessful heat bend. Why is it unsuccessful? It looks great, looks cool, quick in front of the camera, but oh, what happened there? These sections here look cool and everything looks great, but I was like, God, why is this not working? Like, I want this to work, and I'm like, one guy just did it straight up with a heat gun, and he rolled it over. I heated both sides and tried to roll this over, and this is how bad the cracking got. So you really don't want to see this on your floor stair tread. Then I tried it again. Heated it up longer, much longer. This time with a longer heat job. Oh, it's so clean, looks nice. There's nothing really wrong with that except for this. The radius is inconsistent all the way across. I didn't like it. It wasn't perfect, it didn't look clean. It doesn't wrap into the 2x4 perfectly. It has this bulging section in the middle. It makes it rounder. So I'm like, God, I gotta get away from this. How do I do it better? And this is like 1 hour. Horrible amount of time, wasted. Sorry, not wasted, learning, okay? Some unbeknownst video pops up in my feed after I do a couple searches, because you know how it works. I saw somebody do something smart that I should have thought of from the beginning. They kind of dadoed out the back of their boards. See those dados? They thinned out the material so that I could heat bend it in a matter of a minute. So within no time whatsoever, I have this amazingly perfect heat bent piece. So here's my simple jig. Basically, you'll see it literally is a piece of plywood, a couple of scraps of some Douglas fir I had in the shop, and in between the layers here, what you'll notice that I've actually got a piece of flooring. That is a representation of what I need to do when I wedge a new piece in and I'm making the jig. And I have to bend another piece. I go like this, I slide it in. Comment below if you have any questions on how this works, but it's pretty simple. It's two pieces of wood screwed to a base with the piece of flooring in between to act as a divider, so you get the right tolerance on the squeeze. The depth here from the top of this 2x lumber is the depth I need for my radius to roll over, and that is 1 inch. So basically I want this material to roll back 1 inch and tuck underneath my stair tread. And this is the top of my tread that I would walk on, and this is the underlip of where the riser would start. Now how do I bend it over that jig right here and get that seam to roll? Well, I've done it a couple ways. Let me show you what happens when we do it without dados. Quick note on the tool I'll be using today is this heat gun I picked up from Canadian Tire. Here is the package it came in, so if you want to get the exact one I'm using, this is it. It is a 15 amp, 3 temperature gun. It did quite well. A note that it does come with quite a few accessories, and I used the wide fan tip on this because I wanted to make sure it was sending heat across in that certain section on the board. So I'll flick the heat gun on the highest setting, and with the highest setting set, I will now go ahead and begin to heat this up. And the idea is to focus on the areas where it needs to flex over here, over this area. So I'm gonna keep heating over these 2 to 3 inches of material. And as you can see, I've dropped the front of my jig below the lip of this, so I'm making sure to heat up the material that still has to flex over this. Because the material that's sandwiched in here, we don't want it to heat up. We want to keep it stiff and rigid and nice and clean. So with this gun on here, and keep in mind, this is a short piece, so this is gonna be a lot easier to heat up. But you're still gonna see what happens to the stress of it when we bend it. And my technique is to heat this side the most, and then go to the back and give it a little bit of heat too. See it's starting to take shape. You see how it's curving? It doesn't want to bend right at the point. So with that happening, I have to leave it alone and then heat it up even more. You can see it's getting really soft and very pliable, but it's not giving me what I want, which is a nice flat face. So in order to do that, I start pushing my 2x4 on there. And I press on it. And I would normally set up my clamps here, and then the same thing on the back. I put another piece of lumber here. This material is clamped onto there, okay? The top's clamped, and then look at from the end here. See how it bulges? So it doesn't get nice and clean? That whole problem is what I wanted to avoid, so I try and slide these up, but it doesn't work perfectly. So it has a little bit of warmth to it, but there you go. So even on a small piece, stress fracture, splitting on the material. The radius not bad. Like, no, I don't think too many people would want to complain about that because it looks pretty good. But there's a flex here, there's a dip in the surface here, there's a bubble on the front, and there's a split on the face. For my standards, I would not allow this. I don't want this to happen in my client's home. I want them to look nice. So I'm gonna try it with the dado now. So a quick little note, safety gear on the saw. Set the fence up because I need an inch overhang. So with the inch overhang, I set it back 7/8 or 13/16, and then I'm gonna come forward another 1/4 of an inch this way. And that's to give that material clearance on that dado for the radius, because the thickness of the material needs to be included in the radius. So if you look at this, you'll see how much material has been removed. Key obviously here is to make sure that the thickness and the depth of the blade is not higher than the material. So we get enough to remove and it doesn't ruin what we're doing. Set your blade height, make sure it's enough that it takes out the material and leaves you some, because the last thing you want is multiple pieces. We have to move the fence over now because we finished that 1.8 inch, and our next one is going to be 1.5 inch difference is what we want to get to. So 1.5 inch is going to put us to 2.5, so I'm going to go back to 2 3/8 to do my first pass. And you'll see here as I flip the piece over, there's my first dado. So that's approximately 3/8 wide, 3/8 of an inch, okay? And that's what you want to see. Let's go for the second time. Dados are nice and clean, looking even. Now, just to compare and show you why, using the 2x lumber dimension here, you can see how nice it'll sit when we heat bend those edges, being extra thin, not too thin though, because it's dimensionally stable, but it allows us to be able to radius this gap around the corners of this 2x lumber. So when our stair treads come back, our little 1 inch return will tuck in nicely to the riser, and this will come back down on the tread and then butt in with another piece of flooring. Now, you could set up your dado blades if you want to. I just didn't feel like doing that today, and I thought it'd be nice and easy because I only have 6 pieces to do. If you don't have dado blades, you can use a single blade with 3 passes to make up 3/8. All we're gonna do is take our board, line it up to the jig, and drop it in. Making sure that the back is facing forward because we want it to wrap over the 2x6. Okay, so now the dados are lined up over the corners. Everything looks good. Time to heat this one up, and I'll put that on a time lapse. I've got it wrapped, and the nose is tucked in here on this end as it's being heated. And you'll see here from this end, I've got the little dados right there on the ends. You can see where they allow that kerf just to bend over it. It makes it nice and tight. And we have everything set up. I'll probably wait about 2 to 3 minutes. I can mist it with water to help cool down a little bit faster, but that generally gets you the idea of how it's gonna look, and then I'll pop it right out of the clamps in a moment. Here we go. Still, I can feel a little bit of heat still. It's a minimal amount. Pretty good. Oh, there goes that piece of wood. Now with that scrap out of the way, I'm gonna reach behind. There it goes. Woo! And that's how you do it without having any issues whatsoever. Because of the dados in the back, you get that relief and the heat. A lot less material to heat up to bend. And now we have these gorgeous looking stair nosings that'll blend right into a piece of flooring. Let me just show you how crazy it is. So if I go ahead and I rip another piece of flooring and I put it in the back of this one, now we have seamless stair treads. Side by side, the difference in these materials when they have a dado and no dado. Split in the face, radius is larger, not as tight and nice and clean as the one with the dado. And as we move across, you can obviously see the stress fractures in the material because it had too much material to bend on such a tight point, and that made so much impact on the way this material wanted to fold. No more purchasing those aftermarket pieces, time to make it yourself. Hope you loved the video, and if you did, click that little button down below that shows that you appreciate it. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know if you want a video specifically or if you have a question about what I just did. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with what I'm throwing down. Thanks for watching. Check out on the next video. Peace out.